Hey, how's it going guys? My name's Abyss, and in today's video I have another set of tips and tricks for Zenless Zone Zero. I've tried to include tips for different aspects of the game, so let's get straight into it. Starting off with the resource section, and tip number 1, make use of the Sage in a Barrel exchange. So at a fairly early point in the game, around level 15, you can go to the noodle shop in the morning or afternoon and talk to someone called Ellis. After that, he'll ask you to head over to the Sage in the Barrel, and if you talk to him and then go back to Ellis, that will complete his quest, and then you can start collecting HIA coins, which you can trade with the Sage to unlock various resources. You can find these coins spread across the map at different times of the day and different locations. There'll be a little sparkling effect next to certain objects, and it should look something like this, or sometimes just by talking to NPCs that are walking about. So it's a nice little bonus way to get some extra resources, so that way you can use stamina for other things that you may need. Tip number 2, another resource tip, is leveling up your drive discs. You don't need to worry about it, you get 80% of the resources back, so it's not too bad of a waste. Especially compared to other gadget games, usually I would tell you to save your resources when it comes to leveling up certain things, but with drive discs you get a lot of the resources back, so it's not too big of an issue. Now if you haven't unlocked drive discs and you don't know what I'm talking about, they're basically artifacts or relics. I believe it's at level 26 you unlock the Bardic Needle Shop, then you can talk to Elfie and start getting some for yourself. My next 2 tips are about characters and leveling up their skills. So just like Genshin and HSR and stuff like that, each character has different trace priorities. However, there is one thing for every character that you should definitely be leveling up, and that would be the chain attack. The chain attack is what the QTE switch-ins scale off of. Since you're always doing chain attacks no matter what the battle is, you're going to want to level this up so you can maximize your damage. Even for your supports, even if they're only on the field for a couple of seconds, they'll still do a chain attack, so you want to make use of that. For tip number 4, this is kind of centered around Lucy for now, but it could also apply to any characters that come out in the future. With Lucy, she has the little ball things that she summons in, and they stay on the field no matter what, and they do damage. So if you level up her basic attack, even when she's not on the field, those little balls will do more damage. It feels like the support agents are the ones that people don't really like building as much or using too many resources on, so you might as well level them up efficiently. Let's move on to my combat tips. Tip number 5, I just want to talk about chain attacks. So typically you'd want to end your chain attacks with a DPS character. However, in some cases it's kind of better to end with a support, because that way you can get an extra assist in. But this is very situational. If you didn't know, the amount of chain attacks you get are dependent on what the enemy is. So if it's like a small mob, you get 1 chain attack, the elites you get 2, and then the boss you get 3. However, there can be times where you mess up and you accidentally switch in wrong and you switch into your DPS too early, so you won't get them for the last chain attack. In that situation, you'll probably want to end up using one of your supports as the last chain attack, and then you can get the extra assist. A bit of a simple tip, but nonetheless it's still pretty helpful to know. Tip number 6. DP assists. Players are calling this the DP assist. It's where you dodge and parry at the same time. The benefit to this is that you do more days and you do more damage in a shorter time frame. There are some pretty good tutorials that explain it in a little bit more depth, but I'll give you guys the quick rundown. What you want to do is dodge, then counter, and then parry. So dodge, normal attack, and then switch in. This lets the initial agent dodge and then counter, and the agent you switch into will also be able to parry and then counter. And for my final tip, tip number 7, I'm going to be talking about non-QTE switches. So what I've typically seen by watching a couple of more newer players is that players will either wait until there's a parry opportunity or QTE to switch characters. Or if they switch too much, then they'll just switch and you won't be able to get any sort of bonus damage from it. However, when you're using agents, they have certain normal attack sequences that will continue on even if you switch out. The timing is a bit different for each agent, so you'll have to figure that out, but essentially towards the end of the sequence, you can switch character and they'll continue the sequence on their own whilst you've started with the next agent and you're doing damage with them. Now this doesn't give an astronomically huge damage increase, but it's pretty nice to have in case you make an accidental switch or you just want to switch to make things a bit more smoother in rotation. And I've tried to give less specific combat tips so that they apply to all characters. That about does it for my tips and tricks video for you guys. Hopefully you found it helpful and maybe found something new. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please be sure to leave a like. It does help me out a ton, and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you have any tips that you want to share, do leave a comment and let us know. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.